My brother stole my husband, and now they want me to be their surrogate. I never thought I'd be the type to air my dirty laundry on the internet, but y'all, this is too wild not to share. I don't even know where to begin, but I gotta get it off my chest. My own brother stole my husband. Yeah, you read that right. And now they got the nerve to ask me to be their surrogate. Like, the audacity of these people is beyond me. Alright, let me back it up and explain how this madness even started. I was with my husband, David, for almost 6 years. We were high school sweethearts, been through everything together, ups and downs, broke days, family drama, all that. We were solid, or at least I thought we were. We got married 3 years ago, and everything seemed cool. We had talked about starting a family, getting a house, building our life together, all the usual stuff couples do. You know, the forever type of love. My brother Trey was always around, though. Me and Trey were close growing up, always had each other's back, so it wasn't weird that he and David became boys too. Trey's always been the life of the party, real charming, funny, everybody loves him. He and David started hanging out a lot, and I never thought twice about it. Why would I? It's my husband and my brother. They were like best friends. But then things started to get weird. At first, it was little stuff. David would get home late, saying he was with Trey. I figured they were just hanging out, watching the game or something. No big deal. But then it became every night. David was always with Trey. He'd cancel plans with me, say he was tired, and then I'd find out later he was out drinking with Trey. Still, I wasn't trying to make a big deal out of it. I trusted both of them, no reason to think anything shady was going on. Until one night, I was supposed to meet David and Trey at a bar for drinks, but I got stuck at work late, so I told them to go ahead without me. When I finally made it to the bar, I walked in and immediately saw them sitting in a booth in the back. I was about to wave, but then I saw Trey's hand on David's thigh, like real close. I froze, thinking maybe I was seeing things wrong. But then David leaned in, and they started kissing. I felt like the ground got ripped out from under me. My own brother and my husband, making out like they didn't have a care in the world. I couldn't believe it. I just stood there, staring, trying to wrap my head around what was happening. I stormed out before they could see me because I knew if I stayed, I'd go off right there and then. I wasn't ready for that scene. That night, I confronted David. I couldn't hold it in. I asked him straight up if he was messing around with Trey, and at first he tried to lie. He said I was crazy, that I was imagining things, but I wasn't stupid. I told him I saw them, and that's when he finally broke. He admitted it. He and Trey had been messing around. It didn't even stop there. He told me he had fallen in love with Trey, that it just happened, like that was supposed to make it better. He said they didn't mean to hurt me, but they couldn't help how they felt. I lost it. I kicked him out of the house that night, told him to go stay with Trey since they were so in love. My own husband, who I had planned my whole life with, was now with my brother. I stopped talking to both of them after that. Blocked them, deleted their numbers, everything. My family was in shock. Some of them even tried to play peacekeeper, talking about love is love, like I was supposed to just be okay with this, but that's not even the wildest part. Fast forward a few months. I'm finally starting to get my life back together, trying to move on. Then out of nowhere, Trey calls me. I didn't want to answer, but curiosity got the best of me, and honestly, I wanted to hear what kind of BS excuse he'd come up with. He starts talking real calm, acting like we hadn't just gone through the messiest family betrayal ever. Then he drops the bomb. He and David want to have a baby. I'm silent at first, like, what does this have to do with me? But then he says they want me to be the surrogate. Y'all, when I tell you I almost dropped my phone, I said, what? Thinking maybe I misheard him, but no, these fools were dead serious. Trey goes on talking about how they've thought about adoption, but they wanted the baby to be biologically connected to both of them. So they figured since I was already family and David's ex-wife, it made sense for me to carry their baby. The level of disrespect blew my mind. My own brother, who stole my husband, was now asking me to carry their child. I couldn't even respond for a minute because I was so shocked. I was like, are y'all out of your damn minds? They really thought I was just going to put everything aside and do this for them, like I didn't have any feelings or pride left. Trey starts pleading, saying how they didn't want to hurt me, but they still want me in their lives, and this could be a way to bring the family back together. I was speechless. These dudes really thought having me be their surrogate was the way to make up for all the dirt they did. I told him to lose my number and hung up. I blocked him again right after that. The nerve of them to even ask me for something like that after all the betrayal. The whole situation is wild. Now I'm sitting here wondering if I should tell the rest of the family or just keep cutting these two out of my life for good. Would you forgive your brother and ex-husband after something like this? Because I'm not sure I ever could. I thought that would be the end of it, honestly. After that wild phone call where Trey and David had the nerve to ask me to carry their child, I was convinced I'd seen the worst of their audacity. I blocked them both and figured I could just move on with my life, leave the drama behind. But of course, when it comes to family, especially my family, things are never that simple. A few days after I hung up on Trey, my mom called. Now, my mom's always been the type to try to keep the family together, no matter what. She's that old-school family-first type, the one who thinks blood ties are unbreakable. So, when I saw her name pop up on my phone, I knew she had probably heard something about what was going down. Still, I wasn't ready for the mess she was about to bring. "Hey, baby," she said when I answered, all calm like she wasn't about to drop some bombs on me. "I've been talking to Trey, and I think you need to hear him out." I almost laughed. "What's there to hear, Ma? He stole my husband." I got nothing to say to him. She sighed like I was the one being difficult. He told me about the surrogacy. "I know it's a lot, but you have to understand he's your brother. He wants to make things right." I nearly choked. Make things right? He's serious. You think me carrying their baby is gonna fix this? Mom wasn't hearing me. She kept going on about how Trey was remorseful, how he felt bad about everything, and that this surrogacy plan was his way of keeping the family together. She said it like they were doing me a favor. I could feel my blood boiling. "Ma, let me ask you something," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "If I had stolen your man, then turned around and asked you to do something like this, would you do it? Would you be able to look at me and say yes?" There was silence on the other end for a minute. Then she hit me with, "It's different. Trey's your brother. You've always been close." That was the breaking point for me.
Close? Ma, he was close to my husband behind my back.
He's been lying to me for months, and you're really sitting here defending him? She kept saying things like family's complicated and we can't just cut him off. I knew she didn't understand, and maybe she never would. She always took Trey's side, even when we were kids. He was the baby of the family, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. I realized in that moment she wasn't gonna be on my side this time either. "Look, Ma," I said, cutting her off. "I love you, but if you can't respect that I'm done with them, then maybe we need some space. Because there's no way in hell I'm being part of their mess." I hung up before she could say anything else. That conversation left me feeling more alone than ever. I'd always known my mom played favorites with Trey, but this was a whole new level. It wasn't just about her babying him anymore. It was about her straight up ignoring the hurt he'd caused me, and for what? So we could all sit around the dinner table pretending things were cool. The next few weeks were rough. My family kept reaching out, cousins, aunts, even some friends. Everyone had heard some version of the story, but of course Trey and David were playing the victim, talking about how they never meant to hurt me, and how I was being cold for not forgiving them. Trey even had the nerve to tell people I was punishing him by refusing to be their surrogate, as if I owed him that. I was doing my best to ignore it, but then my dad called. Now, me and my dad are tight. He's never been one to get involved in family drama, but when he does, it's usually because things are getting out of hand. I answered the phone, bracing myself for another round of guilt tripping, but instead, he got straight to the point. "Your mom's talking crazy about you carrying Trey and David's baby," he said. "You're not really thinking about doing that, right?" I sighed. "Of course not, Dad. I wouldn't do that even if they were paying me $1 million. He chuckled, but it was a heavy laugh. Good, because I'm about 2 seconds away from knocking Trey upside the head for even asking you. Hearing my dad's support meant more than I could say. He told me he wasn't going to get in the middle of everything, but that I needed to stand my ground. Your mom, Trey, they'll try to wear you down. But you don't owe anyone anything, especially not them. It felt good to know at least someone was on my side. But it wasn't over yet. Not by a long shot. The next week I got a knock on my door. I figured it was just another family member showing up to talk sense into me. But when I opened the door, it was Trey and David together. Before I could slam the door in their faces, Trey stepped forward. Wait! Just hear us out. I crossed my arms, glaring at both of them. Y'all got 30 seconds? David, looking all nervous like he didn't just wreck my life, started talking. We know we messed up. We really want a family, and you're the only person we trust. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The nerve. Y'all really standing here on my doorstep, after everything, still asking me to do this for you. Are you out of your mind? Trey, always the smooth talker, jumped in. Look, I know I messed up. I was wrong. I love David, but that doesn't mean I don't care about you. You're my sister, and I want you in our lives. I laughed in his face. Y'all love each other so much. Cool. Go ask somebody else to have your baby, because it's not gonna be me. David had the nerve to reach out like he was gonna grab my hand. We're family, we don't want to lose you. I stepped back, disgusted. You lost me the minute y'all started sneaking behind my back. Get off my porch. They kept trying to talk, but I slammed the door in their faces. I stood there, shaking with anger, tears in my eyes. How could they not see how messed up this was? How could they expect me to just forgive and forget, then help them build their dream life? I realized then that I didn't just lose a husband, I lost my brother too. And maybe that was for the best. Now I'm sitting here wondering if cutting them both off for good is the right move. Part of me feels guilty, but the other part of me knows I deserve better. What would y'all do?